Good evening. I'm out by the refrigerator for a discussion about willpower. Now, what does that term mean to you, willpower? For me, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I'll tell you why. How many times throughout the day are you faced with a choice that you've logically determined in your own head what you believe is the right choice or the wrong choice? How many times throughout the day are you faced with the decision, and do you make the right choice or do you make the wrong choice? On some matters, do you find it's a lot easier to make the right choice? Or do you find it's a lot harder to make the right choice? Now, some people may say that, oh, well, you just don't have enough willpower then. If you're making the wrong choice, you just don't have enough willpower. Well, it's an interesting thought, but I don't know how much I believe it. Part of it is training. If you've done it, if you've done something a number of times, if you've been faced with a choice a number of times, and you have the history of making the right choice, if you've done the right thing, the chances are that you'll make the same right choice in the future are pretty good. So there's something to that. There's something along those lines where you can, it's kind of out of habit that things happen. And speaking of habits, what habits do you have? And what habits do other people have? We don't all share the same issues. It's like, take smoking, for instance. That's not a thing I have a problem with. But for other people, it's like, well, it's bad for you. It's bad for your health. You're going to, blah, 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 blah. They already logically know this in their head. Smokers already know that in their head. But for whatever reason, they just aren't making the same choice. And yes, there's a chemical dependence and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, yes, there's science to back that up, and I'm not going to diminish that. But not everyone fell into that trap. Some people tried smoking and they just put it down. They're just like, no, I'm not interested in that. What's different? It can't all be chemical dependence. I mean, sure, that plays a part sometimes. So there's something else. There's something more. Let me just share a little bit about, personally, what I've dealt with. I've been overweight for some time. I've known what I need to do to change that, to improve that situation. And from time to time, would start changing my eating habits and such. And it wouldn't last. I would always trail off. I would always kind of forget what I was doing and just kind of trail off, Until this year. Now, what happened this year? Now, if I could completely tell you, if I could, something changed. A switch flipped in my head, which changed the way I do things. If I could figure out how to replicate that, I'd be a trillionaire. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, because that's the magic thing. For me, I just watched a documentary. An hour and a half of my time, just sitting on the couch watching something. And it switched something on in my brain. Since that time, I've been doing the keto diet. And in the past, when I've changed my diet, I've done like small changes and little things here and there. This requires you to eliminate an entire food group. I mean, how is it that it was so much easier for me to do that and stick with it? Now, not to say that I don't miss things. I totally do. I totally miss some of the things that had to cut out. And but how has it been that I've been able to stay focused on it? That I've been able to stick to it? I've lost 25 pounds this year. It's great. I've never had that kind of result in the past trying to do things. So, again, if I could figure out what happened, what flipped that switch in my brain, for me, there's gotta. But here's the thing: I know one thing for certain. There's got to be a catalyst, something which changes something in your mind that makes you change your pattern of behavior. Because otherwise, you'll fall back to what your normal behavior pattern is. Something's got to switch, and again, if I could figure that out, I'd be a trillionaire many times over. All I can say is that, if there's something you want to do, keep looking at it. Don't feel bad if you're failing at it, if you don't do it right off the bat. If there's something you want to accomplish, just keep reading on it. Reading about it, and watching documentaries, or, just try and keep bringing information in. And maybe eventually you'll find that piece of it, that one piece of information that will change your mind. And I mean, obviously I don't mean change your mind, because you already have made you already know what's logically correct to do. What will change you emotionally? What will flip that switch in your brain that you have not been able to flip? Just keep out there. Just keep looking for it. If you don't succeed at first, don't let it get you down. Just keep looking, and you might find that right answer.